That's where the hoax lies. That basically,
Exactly. Global warming is like a Rorschach diagram. You'll see whatever the hell you're predisposed to see. You want to see catastrophe? It's right there in front of you. You're a paranoid maniac, that's what you're going to see. You're one of those happy-go-lucky people who doesn't, who's never met a clown they didn't like, then you're going to think, we're perfectly happy and all these people are crazy and I don't believe a single thing that anybody tells me about catastrophes. That's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say.
So,
That is best focused.
so those who are calling for global solutions,
Okay,
based on the problem of global warming.
now we're talking about motivation. We're talking about the hoax and what it is and how it's fabricated, how it's constructed. Now we want to talk, why would anybody want to do this? Why would somebody create this religion? And what's the motivation behind it? What's the goal? Well, the goal is this. It goes back to Mr. Eisenhower. Anybody who's ever heard his speech about a military-industrial complex?
Right.
And I think
But
in
he
that
warned
speech,
us against the military-industrial complex.
yes, one of his warnings was that in order to consolidate power, whereas power is consolidated within the U.S. by the military-industrial complex, or by whoever controls the high priest of this conglomerate of money and power, that as they consolidate power in the U.S. and then within NATO, when they get to the step where they have to consolidate global-wise, then you have to come up with an excuse. You have to come up with some kind of threat, some kind of scare that is global. So you can bring the whole globe under your control. And I think, if I remember correctly, Mr. Eisenhower mentioned terrorism as one of them.
I want to go back to the speech.
I think he mentioned terrorism. He said they will use terrorism. Huh?
So, please go ahead.
So we were saying, if you go back to that speech by President Eisenhower about a warning to the American people and anyone concerned about the consolidation of power in the hands of a small number, of a few that shouldn't have power over anybody, he mentioned that they would look for some kind of a global issue as a scare tactic. I don't remember, but some people could check. And I think he mentioned terrorism as the unifying or scare tactic that would be used. The way this works, and it's not important whether he mentioned terrorism or something else. The important thing for me is the technique that Mr. Eisenhower outlined.
It's interesting that he would even mention these things.
Yeah, he outlined how it would be used. And basically, they would look for something global, something you can scare everybody with, whether in the U.S. or China or Saudi Arabia or South Africa or the North Pole. Because then you could unify them all under your quote-unquote protective umbrella. They would want to ask you for help. They would want to ask this global committee, this global centralized commission or agency or government, if you want to call it that, for help. Because the US government alone couldn't do it. The Chinese government couldn't do it alone. They have to unify. They have to create an agency and
to collaborate.
Yeah, to create an agency and then give power to this agency to carry out its function and responsibility of protecting all of us.
It makes sense that the problems are too big for one country.
Yes, exactly. Like, for example, terrorism, global terrorism. No one country can pursue these invisible terrorists all around the world unless they have some kind of global authority. Unless all the countries of the world say, well, this agency now has the power to pursue terrorists in any country around the world and kill them, and protect us by any means necessary. So suddenly now you have created an agency that has the right to kill people anywhere on the planet. That means, what does that mean? It means the authority and sovereignty of every nation is now subjugated to this high commission, this global commission. Now, one of the easy issues for this kind of global control, for this tactic that we mentioned, is weather. See, no one nation can control global weather or can help global weather. Even if the U.S. said, we have to, the weather, the average temperature is increasing. The plant is going to burn up in flames, and we have to save everybody. The U.S. alone could say, well, we'd like to reduce fuel consumption and this and that and that, but it wouldn't help if the Chinese are still burning fuel like crazy, or the Europeans are burning fuel like crazy, like nuts, or all these other countries are doing the same. So then the argument, and it's a logical argument if you accept the premise of the IPCC liars. If you accept that premise, it's logical that we need a global central agency that that has certain authority to carry out its duties to protect us from global warming. And of course, what those duties are, well, the logical thing is control fuel consumption. Now, if you control fuel consumption, for anybody who has any sense, you have now taken complete control of people's personal lives. They're driving, they're heating, they're cooling, they're eating, they're drinking, they're washing, they're walking, they're talking, they're breathing.
That gets right into their
All
homes,
because of the IPCC claim that the average temperature of the Earth is increasing or decreasing, whatever claim they made. That's the point. It doesn't matter. They could have claimed that, it's freezing. And you could use that to create this centralized agency that now controls everybody extra-nationally, beyond even the control that their own national government has. So we can stop there and let inshallah the audience, our listeners, to think things through for themselves.
See if they can draw their own conclusions, perhaps.